I am investing so much in all these people and I am just so spent. And I just don't think I have the capacity anymore.
Wait, did you want to cancel Thanksgiving? If that line hit you in the chest, you're not alone. And honestly, there's no better week to talk about capacity because it's Thanksgiving week. A week when women everywhere are cooking, coordinating, hosting, cleaning, and quietly carrying every invisible detail that makes the day happen. Today, I'm joined by someone who knows that load and who's doing something different about it this year. My amazing twin sister, Carisse. She's my first best friend, my lifelong better half, my biggest encourager, and the woman who hosts Thanksgiving for our family every single year. But this year, she's changing things up a bit, and I could not be prouder. She's setting boundaries, simplifying, and saying things out loud that most women never give themselves permission to say. And she's here to encourage you to do the same, even if you're the person who never says no. Carisse is a high-capacity human, just like you. She's a mom, a wife, the emotional anchor in her world, the one everyone turns to when things fall apart. She's unbelievably thoughtful, incredibly steady, and deeply invested in her people. She's also someone who hit her capacity this year in a way she couldn't ignore. And one of the many things I love about her is that she's willing to be honest about it. The invisible load women carry, the expectations that pile up, and the moment your body finally says no more. You're going to hear yourself in her story. And I think it's exactly the conversation you need going into Thanksgiving.
You're managing what you always do, but your brain feels scattered and you just can't seem to pull it together. The Busy Brain Do-Over from Steady State Co. is your space to recover, reset, and restart, proud of how you show up again. Because you're not the problem, and you're not alone. Here, you'll find real tools and honest conversations to help you feel capable, steady, and like yourself again. Here's your host, Candace David, a fellow busy brain who believes life doesn't have to run perfectly to run well.
Carisse, I'm so glad that you're here. Thank you so much. Welcome to the show.
No, thank you for having me. I love spending time with my twin sister. I don't get to spend a lot of in-person time. However, she is my morning commute person.
Yes,
Every day on the phone.
we do talk every morning on the phone. Yeah, that's true. Thank you for being on here. I'm really excited to talk with you. You have been my better half since birth.
Yeah.
You guys, every time people ask me about whether I have siblings, I always say, yes, I have a twin. And then they always ask me to describe my twin. And I say, she's about a head shorter than I am. And she's 10 times nicer than me. And I get some like, oh, don't say that about yourself. I'm like, no, it's true. Like, I know what my strengths are. And she's so nice. Like, one of the nicest people in the world. So.
That is too funny. Yes, whenever people ask about my background, I was like, yes, I'm a twin. No, we're fraternal. She's older. And now it feels good to say that she's older because we're older. I'm always talking about how, yep, she's taller than me. She's very outgoing. And she is the type of person you would want in your corner. That's always been a super big strength of Candace, of just being a great leader, but advocate for people, which is awesome.
Thank you. I would love for you in your own words to tell my listeners a little bit about yourself.
My name is Carisse, and I am Candace's twin sister. For those who follow the Enneagram, I'm an Enneagram 2 with a one wing, and I have a wonderful husband. We've been married for almost 15 years. I love my kiddos. Two of them still live in the home. And then I have been working for a school district in the DFW area for about 10 years now. I love my job. I love what I do and making people feel at home. Yeah, I guess that's me in a nutshell.
Okay, great. Let's get started. Hi, my busy brain friends. Before we keep going, Hit that follow button so your next do over finds you right when you need it. If you've already subscribed, thank you, and consider this your high five for being ahead of the game. You never know when the next episode's going to be the one that gives you that deep exhale you've been craving. This episode will air the week of Thanksgiving, actually, 2 days before. And I thought it would be incredibly appropriate to bring you on as not only the first guest of the show, because we are twins, but also because I know Thanksgiving happens to be your favorite holiday of the whole year. So I wanted to start with asking you to share a little bit about why you love the Thanksgiving holiday so much.
Yeah, okay. So I think for me, I love just getting to care for people, celebrate with people, spend time with them. And so for me, growing up, Thanksgiving was always that kind of holiday for me. We had our set traditions of what that looked like. Oftentimes we would get to see family we didn't get to see very often. Obviously, getting to eat the food that you only eat once a year. And then for me, just watching the Macy's Day Parade every Thanksgiving morning was huge. I really enjoyed that. And so just the overall magic surrounding that holiday is probably what makes me love it just so much. And just it just feels so special, especially rolling into the Christmas holiday season as well.
Yeah, I love that. There are a lot of traditions around Thanksgiving that for sure lead and help build up to the end of the year and Christmas and New Year's and all of that. So, listeners, what you all don't know is in our family, we have kind of allocated holidays. Certain people get to host specific holidays, and we keep that tradition, if you will, year after year after year. And so, Carissa's holiday is Thanksgiving because it's your favorite. And one thing I know about when you and your husband, my brother-in-law, were looking for houses, you were explicitly looking for a house that was set up so that you could even host the holiday itself.
Oh gosh, yes. A lot of kind of what I envision for the holidays does stem from, what I saw my mom, who's absolutely fabulous growing up, as far as like how she decorated the house and how she meal planned. But then also in the Hallmark movies, they have these lavish homes and it's dressed to the nines as far as all the decorations. And it just makes you just feel so warm and excited. And so that was an experience I wanted to be able to share and bring to other people. And so when I was looking for my forever home, I was very intentional of I wanted a space to where I could host all these people that they can gather and feel welcomed and comfortable and be able to put my vision to life that I've had in my head for so long. So yeah.
Yeah, the way you just described, Greece, how you looked for a house and things that were going through your head is verbatim how Enneagram 2s evaluate their home buying decisions. So,
I
yes,
can't hide being it too.
yes, it's so
Unfortunately.
important that everyone feels welcome and comfortable, all warm feelings. I love it. So, talk to me about what does your usual Thanksgiving prep look like?
Yeah, so I've worked in the school district setting, so I do get the entire Thanksgiving week off. And so I will say when the kids were younger, it was a lot more stressful to make sure I had all of the food bought, I had all of the decorations in order and put up. And as the years progressed, we've kind of come up with some routine. I also get just the blessing of being able to have my nieces and my nephew over that week of Thanksgiving break too. It's a lot of fun having them in the home with me as we prep for Thanksgiving. I'm sure people who love Christmas, they have probably like 10 boxes, of ornaments and all the Christmas decorations. I have about 10 boxes of just fall decorations. And of those 10 boxes, I probably have about 4 boxes dedicated that I put up for Thanksgiving week. So I have 6 that I do right around the end of September normally, and then the week of Thanksgiving, I'm pulling out the last of the boxes, and we're pulling tables from storage, and we're getting everything set up. I am making sure all the decorations are out and just perfect. Oftentimes, I'm buying crafts that we're gonna be doing during Thanksgiving, If I see some additional cute decorations that they didn't have out last year, I have to have them because it makes a difference. All the things.
So all the decorations, you definitely do go all out. You're doing all of this prep work, maybe sneaking in some new decorations without the husband knowing that we spent a little bit of money there.
It's true.
And then kind of setting them all up and making sure that it looks just like you want it.
It's a lot.
Yeah, and I didn't even know that you had that many different decorations. So you're 6 boxes starting in September and then maybe another 4.
Yes. Yep. My husband remembers very well.
Wow. That is okay. So that's a significant amount of effort.
I will say, um, I always leave Thanksgiving break and enter back into the school world exhausted because I really don't have a lot of downtime during that week.
So at the end of Thanksgiving week, as you're headed back to school to
Yes,
work,
I'm spending until Thanksgiving Day finishing up the last of those decorations, and then immediately turnaround time Friday is when we put all of those decorations up, reset our house, and then we immediately take down our Christmas decorations. And I have everything set ready to go before I go back to work because I know that I won't be able to get it all set up once I get back to work.
I'm exhausted just hearing this. Wow. Okay, so I'm curious, was there a moment when you thought, I love this, but I'm not loving how this feels anymore?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. For me, Thanksgiving and all holidays, I had very little grief or tension or just sadness associated with the holidays. It was very much I could kind of keep this facade of this is wonderful. My life's a Hallmark movie. When you walk into my house, it looks like a Hallmark movie. This is perfect. And so about 3 years ago, we kind of had some family challenges and experiences. And I think as a two, there is just kind of this unspoken expectation in your own heart that you want to make sure everyone in your home feels at peace and happy and comfortable. And, about 3 years ago, I started to get to a point where I was like, you know what? I am investing so much in all these people and I am just so spent. And I just don't think I have the capacity anymore to really focus on their emotions and their needs and think about their favorite things all the time. And for me, that was very hard. So these past 3 years, just kind of wrestling with my identity. And I've slowly started to just realize that I don't have to be just engulfed in caring to every single person. It's okay if I give myself that space and time I need. And specifically with Thanksgiving holiday, I've wrestled with how can I meet both of those needs essentially.
Okay, so you're saying, yeah, 3 years ago, it started to be when a lot of things in the family were shifting for you guys. And I'm also hearing something that I love, knowing the Enneagram and also being a therapist, is you're stepping into it's okay to prioritize myself and my needs and wants. I can do that while still loving the other people in my life that I so deeply care for. It's not an either or situation. And you're learning that that's an okay choice and kind of growing in that area. That also shifted the Thanksgiving holiday. You were not going to be putting so much energy into making sure that everyone that comes to my house doesn't feel like they are the most important person in the whole world. Like it's okay if they come to my house and maybe it does still look like a Hallmark movie because I think it does still kind of look like a Hallmark movie whenever we step into the house for Thanksgiving at your place.
Thanks.
But it's okay if people that come are also aware and can notice that there are some differences that match or align with the fact that you guys as a family had been going through a hard season.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. So let's talk about this year then. If you started to shift from I've been prioritizing everybody or certain people's needs and wants over my own consistently to the detriment of your own self and your own needs being met. How does it look to not prioritize everybody else's needs to your detriment, but to have a more balanced perspective?
Yeah, I think, one of the big takeaways I have learned, and I don't know if other women struggle with this as well, is it is not your sole responsibility to make other people happy. So by you taking on that burden, that's very heavy. And for you to set these high standards for yourself of when they walk into my home, if, how I have it set up or what I have in my home is going to dictate whether or not they're happy, like that's something that I need to reassess. And so for this year, I am focusing more on, okay, what is in my bandwidth to do. So, of my 10 boxes, I will say I I didn't put up anything in September, October. I did buy this new art painting, and it's on my fireplace, and it's fall themed. And so that's like my one piece of fall decoration in my home. For Thanksgiving week, I'm actually going to be very intentional about actually not taking down any of my Thanksgiving boxes. And my plan is to just do real life decorations. So I'm just going to the grocery stores and just getting a handful of pumpkins. And those are going to be the centerpieces. I have several little votive candles I'll put on the table, but that's the extent of what the decorations will look like. And then I'm only gonna make one dish, and I let everyone know I'm only making one dish, and whoever wants to bring anything else, they can. That definitely just helps limit the amount of work I'm spending in the kitchen. And for the dish I'm making this year, I'm using 0 pots, and I bought this throwaway pan that as soon as it's done, I can just chunk it in the trash. So definitely simplifying my life in that area, and also not making appetizers. And that's something that I was worried that I'd get pushback on or just this level of, oh, disappointment. But it's been received very well by those that I've spoken to. And so just kind of validates and affirms that, again, it's not all on me to make sure Thanksgiving looks a certain way. And the vision I had of Thanksgiving growing up isn't necessarily the vision that everyone else has for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it sounds like you're making quite a few changes. So on the one hand, it sounds like there are going to be a lot less decorations that are out. And it sounds like for September and October, you were able to save yourself probably a considerable amount of time by not having to pull all the boxes out and set everything up. And the week of Thanksgiving, you also are not going to be spending time setting up the things in the last 4 boxes. I can't even remember how many 4
Yeah.
boxes that you had pulled out the week of Thanksgiving. You're not gonna have to do that, so the husband isn't gonna have to go up into the attic
Mhm.
to pull all those boxes down, which I'm sure he is beyond thrilled.
So grateful.
Yeah, so excited about. And then you're also food-wise, you are making 1 dish, whereas you normally like, I think last year you made, like, 4. Because then you guys also do the turkey. The husband does the turkey.
Yes. Husband does turkey, and the kids are all getting older. And even like with my nieces and my nephew, last year I had this brilliant idea
Oh my gosh,
that
that's right.
each kid can make their own appetizer. And so we spent so much time having them each make their own appetizer, which was a great memory for them, but also kind of giving myself the freedom to say, just because we did it last year doesn't mean it has to be an expectation going forward that this is what it has to be. It's okay to just have one thing and not have it be a set tradition.
Yes, yeah. No, I remember whenever I got there, I was like, "What? They all made something? Like, it sounds like you made all these things. Like, that is not delegating. You're giving yourself another task times 4 or 5." Okay, so the kids won't each be making their own appetizer. You're making 1 dish and then you're throwing stuff away, right?
Yes. So I haven't used real china for most of our Thanksgivings. I think I did it for our first two. But I was trying to think of like what is a Thanksgiving memory I could bring up on this podcast so y'all can learn more about Candace. And it's so true. I remember Candace and I would be responsible for being in the kitchen after, doing whatever, and we're cleaning dish after dish
Oh my
after dish. And
gosh.
you had to wash it by hand because it's China. You can't put it in the
It's the
dishwasher.
worst.
And I just remember this is just awful. Terrible. I mean, hours. And then you had to dry it and put it
Oh
away.
my gosh.
So there's actually these beautiful throwaway dishes, but they look real. And same with the silverware. But obviously, like when you pick them up, you're like, oh, this is incredibly light. But it's great because people eat and then they throw it away. And so it really does save time so that you can focus more on the people who are there and just invest in them.
Yeah, I remember the first Thanksgiving that we went to when you had the throwaway plates, and I was so pumped. It's like, awesome.
It makes a huge difference.
We're not going to have to wash all these dishes. Because even growing up, it's not like our Thanksgivings were just our family of four. Our Thanksgivings were over at least 2 dozen people. It was a lot of standing and washing dishes as a teenager later. And our phones didn't do anything like play
Now,
anything on Netflix or on Disney. Like that wasn't a thing. We were stuck watching the news or,
oftentimes we watch the Christmas story.
oh,
So
yeah.
when you're just staying there and watching the same movie for the 100th time, and
I was zoning out in my head for sure because I don't remember those movies. I was questioning my life choices. Like, why did I come out of the room? Okay, so you're changing the decorations, the amount of dishes you're having to prepare. And I hear a little bit of compromise in this too. Like, you really wanted to scale back, maybe even significantly more. And then as you were talking with some people about, hey, these are the changes I'm thinking of making, you learned, oh, people actually really enjoy and look forward to preparing their dishes. And so you found like middle ground of, okay, great. If you guys want to do that, that's awesome. Here you go. You can. And I'm going to just prepare the one. And I'm going to simplify my life by not doing all the nines, of bringing all the boxes down, going to the store to buy new decorations. Although we did buy a fall painting this year.
it doesn't
I
count.
I'm not going to do all of those things. I'm going to scale it back and make sure that I'm doing what sounds like will be more resting that week. So, what are you most looking forward to for Thanksgiving this year?
I think I'm looking forward to this might sound so strange. On the one hand, I'm super excited to be able to actually spend more time sitting with people and having conversations with them versus washing dishes or making sure the kids' craft is going okay or whatever it may be. I think for me, I'm like really looking forward to just some more internal calmness and peace. I mean, truly, the past 3 years, the holidays have been very heavy for me. And so I'm hopeful that by making some of these changes, um, that softness of the holidays kind of starts to stir back up in me.
Yeah. Wow. It's wild how small change can really shift the entire emotional tone of a holiday, right?
Yeah.
A change, a do over can shift everything. And it sounds like this Thanksgiving has really good odds of hitting and landing very differently for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And I think that's a really big shift that you're making too. I know some people have a really hard time with changing things and stepping out of tradition and often push themselves well beyond their limits for the sake of tradition. And what is everyone going to think when they come to my house? Or better yet, if they are going to someone else's house. I've never hosted Thanksgiving. Certainly the way you're describing all the stress, it doesn't sound like something I would want to do. But I bring rolls for Thanksgiving. That's what I contribute. I prefer to do very low key things for that holiday because all the time around it, I feel like I'm moving a million miles a minute. And so I try and find ways to slow down where I can. But even people that are going to other people's homes, they're the guest. In the pressure of, well, I have to go to this person's house because I go every year.
Yeah.
I've been invited there, even if I hate the conversation we have around the table, but I can't say no because they really are going to be having hurt feelings.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that you just hit such a chord and obviously it might just be our background, but I feel like there's other people, yeah, especially as millennials, just kind of growing up, a lot of it was surrounding traditions and traditions have turned into these expectations as adults and it is heavy. And what you just said speaks volumes. And I think if you're a host, I would challenge you to not take it personally or be offended that someone is wanting to do something different for that holiday. If you are someone who has had all these traditions and are doing your absolute best to incorporate as many traditions as possible because you want your kids to be able to grow up and look back at their childhood and say, oh, yeah, we did this and this, giving yourself the freedom to say, you know what? We do normally go to Aunt Susie's for Thanksgiving every year, but I think this year we're going to go to Colorado, just our little family, and spend time up there. Or I think we're just going, I'm going to host Thanksgiving this year, or, whatever it looks like. I'd also challenge anyone who is still holding on tradition just for the sake of holding on to it, or for the sake of appeasing someone, not letting someone down, to really challenge it and say, hey, this tradition, I loved it growing up and have fond memories of it, but is this something that is adding value to my life, adding value to my family's life, or is this causing me more stress than actual memories? Because I think that's what it was getting to a point too for me of there are so many people who knew I love Thanksgiving, and then they started asking me why I love Thanksgiving so much. And I was like, well, it's because this one time. And then I was like, ever since then, I just can't replicate that emotion. Like, it's not the same. Being able to say, it's okay if I change things up. And I mean, my sister, she does a great job of setting boundaries and telling people no. It's like her favorite
It
thing.
might be my favorite word.
It's quite funny. But I mean, yes, on the Thanksgiving food list that, we put together, Candace is only listed as rolls and she has not signed up for anything else.
No, I have not. I don't intend to.
Yeah.
I think that definitely is something that a lot of us need to hear and need to get reminders of. Some of us are better at doing it than others, whether it's Thanksgiving or other holidays. It doesn't mean that there aren't other things where we need the reminder of it's okay to set a boundary, to say no, to go for a walk, to stop working, things like that.
Yeah.
So when I think about what life was like before the two of us got married, growing up, Thanksgiving was the day that you would have to cook and then you'd have to stop cooking to go get ready.
Yeah.
And you would actually put on like really nice clothes to stay in your house all day because we were hosting. So we'd be in our house all day, but we'd have to cook and we'd be in our pajamas cooking or helping cook, setting the table. And then it was like a mad dash, everyone running to go put on clothes, do your hair, put your face on with your makeup, and then come back. And now I was wearing leggings and a sweatshirt last year.
That's was
It
I.
was awesome. Yes. So you've already been making a lot of shifts in how you do Thanksgiving now that you have been able to host it. And it also sounds like even the past 3 years, you really have been feeling this isn't enough. Like it's not quite enough of a shift. I'm still ending the week feeling really exhausted and spent. And so the shifts you're making this year, the hope is that you'll end the week feeling like refreshed, knowing that's how you want to end the week. What other things do you think you'll need to add in to Thanksgiving week to ensure the end result you're hoping to get? A feeling refreshed and renewed, rested?
Yeah. For me, one of the things that I struggle with, and other moms may too, you want to be able to have your children grow up and create their memorable childhood. And that way, when they're adults, they can look back and say, oh, mom, I remember when we did da. And so for me, having conversations with my kids of so far, what is your favorite thing about Thanksgiving? And when I had those conversations with my kids, not a single one of them mentioned my 4 boxes of decorations. No one mentioned all the appetizers I made. No one no one cared about my dishes. They were more so focused on, oh, I like when the TV's on with the parade, and then we're starting to kind of make some food. My kids actually love to cook and bake, and that is a weakness of mine. I do have a sister-in-law and mother-in-law, and they actually love cooking and specifically baking. And my daughter and my son, and because it's Thanksgiving week with the nieces and nephew, they'll get to experience practicing helping bake some of the pies that they're going to be bringing over Thanksgiving. And so during that time, while I'm able to send the kids off to be able to make memories and being okay with, hey, my goal is for my kids to enjoy the holiday. It's okay that I'm not the one making that memorable for them. There's other people in their lives that are able to do that. And so while they're doing that, I'm able to rest and soak in my week off. And then this year, my grandmother is in town, and just being able to kind of sit with her and um, kind of just take it slow instead of just being go, 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 go. I think for me, That's going to be the biggest thing this week of just being very intentional with anchoring myself. And that's something that I've spoken with my husband about as far as, hey, this is what I want the week to look like. And so being on the same page of what that looks like and seeing, where can I offload certain things. And so having that level of accountability and support that's external to make sure that week goes the way you planned it. Because oftentimes when we're in the moment, we can easily creep back into, our old habits or that old mindset of, I really should actually go ahead and just do it. I had the free time. Let me just run to the store real quick and get this done. And in reality, it's like you have this free time, why don't you use it to reset yourself? Or why don't you use it to give you the emotional space that you're needing or whatever it may be?
Yeah, we definitely can rob ourselves of rest. I know I'm really good at doing that myself. So, spending time with grandmother, you've looped in the husband to say, hey, this is what I'm wanting to do. Here are additional things that I would love for you to take on. So that way I'm not carrying that. And also then sending the kiddos to the family that lives nearby to say, you're going to still be able to bake,
Yes.
make that memory. Just won't be inside this house. It'll be inside somebody else's house.
Yep.
And then you'll get a little bit of rest time yourself.
Hmm.
I think that's great. So this is going to be a big do-over year.
Yes.
And I love that it's also a do-over that has come after other do-overs,
Yeah.
using real china to using the disposable plates that still look really nice and not like being dressed to the nines, but we're going to be in comfy clothes. That was a do-over that you guys made a while ago too. And so then this year it's another do-over, a little bit larger than ones previously.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be doing all the decorating that I normally do. Going to make one dish. Yeah, I love it. It's in small incremental steps, and those steps are not possible without you checking in with yourself to see how are you doing and how does this feel? Is it still something that is adding value to your life, to your family's life, or is it something that's taking away from it?
Yeah.
I
Absolutely.
love that. So at the end of each episode, I give my listeners a permission slip, which is just a little bit of encouragement, a little bit of permission that they can go and do the different thing to help them start their do over. So I'm curious if you could give one to the listener who, as they're approaching Thanksgiving, there is that low level, maybe mid level anxiety building, a little bit of dread, perhaps. They're definitely not as excited about it as they used to be. What permission slip would you give them this year to help them have a more restful, more enjoyable Thanksgiving holiday?
I want everyone to just take some time and sit down and write out on a piece of paper things that you're not looking forward to for Thanksgiving or Thanksgiving week. And then on the other side of that piece of paper, I want you to write down simple things like, you know what? I'm going to wear a t shirt for Thanksgiving dinner with sweatpants versus jeans and a blouse. And it can be small. Or you can say, instead of baking a pie, I'm just going to order a pie from the local pie shop and just say, I made it. Actually, don't do that. That's rude. But
You could still bet. I would be fine with people doing that. I think that's fine.
And so just giving yourself the permission to look at that list and say, okay, of these things I wrote on the other side, which of these is realistic for me to do this year? And then I would also encourage you to have those conversations of, hey, I'm feeling a little overwhelmed. This is what it looks like. And I'd say speak with the person who you feel comfortable sharing this with, someone who's not just yourself, letting them into that just a little bit.
So the first step was to get a sheet of paper out and to write out, what are the things that I am not excited about or looking forward to? What are the things that I know take away from this holiday? Yeah. After we've done that, then the next step is to share that list with someone who's part of our village that we trust with that information.
Yes.
And know would be like an excellent accountability partner and encourager of, yes, you can say no. Yes, you can just go buy that pie and then say that you baked it inside your house from scratch. 1,000%. I'm going to be right behind you saying, yep, that did happen. That's true. So that's the second step. And also with that person, you're sharing your check-in with yourself of how you have been feeling and like maybe how you're wanting to feel by the end of that week.
Yeah. I think my last piece, this is going to be more so for the woman who's very similar to me, who, we do have a hard time with saying no. We do have a hard time with feeling like we're letting people down if we're not doing certain things. Or the person who says no in a text or phone call, but then we spend the rest of the afternoon ruminating over it. And then trying to go back and maybe I can do it all. Maybe we can still go just do this instead. And
I have a lot of friends like that.
yeah. So, I just wanted to speak to you and just be in your ear for a moment. It is okay for you to take time for yourself and for your little family. And it is okay to not continue to hold on to this idea that you've developed in your head for various reasons that you're the one responsible for making sure all these people are taken care of or making sure that they feel special with every single interaction they have with you. And on your permission slip, I would like you to write a little letter encouraging yourself. And this can definitely be more of an internal kind of heart to heart that you're having with yourself, and you have it written down. That way you're able to look back at it. I find it very helpful and encouraging. So that's just one more thing to add on to your permission slip.
That is very helpful and something that will be very life-giving if you were to spend the time sitting down and writing that letter to yourself. I think that's a great idea. So it's 1,000% okay to think about how do I want to feel come the end of Thanksgiving week and ensure that you do things across your week to set yourself up well for that. So whatever it is for you, find your thing, find a way to fit it into your week and say no. The world's going to be fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've learned you don't have to make the holidays perfect to make them meaningful. You don't have to earn your right to sit down and enjoy your own table or
Yeah.
someone else's table if you've been invited. This is your holiday too, as much as it is everyone else's. It's your holiday too, not just your to-do list. And if something about the usual routine for Thanksgiving doesn't fit this year, you can give yourself a do-over, just like Carisse is doing, and switch things up a little bit. Because the people who love you don't need perfect. They just need you. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me. This was wonderful.
I'm very grateful. And I know that my listeners definitely got what they needed from this episode and are walking away with a lot of encouragement that they can make these changes too. And also that they don't have to make all of them at once. They can do them in stages, just like you have, and continue to reevaluate year after year. And I'm looking forward to having you back on the show to talk about another do-over that you're making. Thanks so much.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, my busy brain friends. If you've been listening and thinking, I need this kind of reminder more than once a week, I've got you. Join my newsletter, The Weekly Do-Over. It's my short midweek note that drops right when life starts spinning again. Part pep talk, part permission slip, all real life. You'll get practical encouragement, behind-the-scenes stories, and simple resets that actually fit your busy brain. Go to mybusybrain.com/join because waiting until next week to get grounded again is way too long. All right, my fellow busy brain friends, take a breath, give yourself a little grace, and remember, you can always start again. That's what a do-over really is. Not perfection, just permission. Talk soon.